All right, welcome back, you guys, to another episode of the Black on Tour. Today, we have a wonderful special guest with us today, Mr. Rocky Parrish. Am I saying that correctly, Parrish?
Yep.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rocky Parrish today with us. He has a black-owned footwear and apparel company. And today, I want you guys to really prepare yourselves because this is going to be a wonderful interview. And I'm telling you, he's got some dope clothing, some dope shoes that you guys are gonna love. So today, let's get ready to go online and go on live today with you all with Mr. Rocky Parrish. Everybody give him a round of applause. So first,
where are you guys located, by the way? I forgot to ask.
Dallas, Texas.
Okay, cool. Now I know about Paul Quinn down there, and I've been, I spent a year down there going to Texas A&M, so I am very familiar with Dallas, and I believe it's Redbird Mall. I've been down to. I don't even think it's around anymore, is it?
Yes, it is.
But it is definitely being remodeled.
I love hood malls, and that's my jump right there.
All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Wow, Redbird Mall. That's amazing. I'm surprised you knew about Redbird. Yes, sir. So just introduce yourself to the people on live and tell us a little background about what you got going on.
Nah, so I'm Rocky Parrish, y'all. Father of 7. I'm a father first, a husband 1A, and I'm a creator and a hustler by nature. So I'm the owner of ROCKDEEP, and I'm just happy to be on the show with you guys.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Yes, sir. So here we got my lovely host, Aaliyah. So questions you got for him?
So I want to know where you're from. Where are you from originally?
So I was born in Vicksburg, Mississippi. I'm the son of 2 military parents. I'm one of 6. I'm always, I was a part of a big family. I'm used to having big families. In our families, we grew up closer with our cousins than we did with those that we slept in the beds with growing up with. So I'm used to, that Southern hospitality, but my father was from DC. So, growing up in the hood is not, lost on me. Knowing how hard it is in Vicksburg, Mississippi, and in the Washington, D.C. area I basically grew up after my parents had traveled a little bit in the military. I know both ends of the struggle, but I didn't never want that to be a reason why I couldn't get stuff achieved.
Definitely.
So what inspired your hustle? What inspired that entrepreneurship mentality?
Being broke. So, I don't know any. Somebody had asked me that earlier, and I don't know how. I just assumed that was it. I mean, obviously, I had a creative nature, just kind of built within me. But I mean, if you've read anything about me, I tell a story often. Is I used to flip now and laters in elementary school. And after a while, but that was so that I could buy comic books and save up for like whatever shoes that I could get. But it wasn't for like Nikes, because you can never save up enough now later money to buy some Nikes, even back when I was growing up. But you could, for me, we wore what was called Bobos, and that meant when I don't even know what the word for it is today. When everybody's not wearing the hot shoes, I'm wearing these the stuff you get off the rack, but it didn't come in a box. They came off a rack, you know what I'm saying? And they had a clip on the end of them joints. So for me, that was something that I wanted to do with my high quality shoes, was put a clip on them. And that might be something, because we did it in our outlet store, but it's something that I really probably should implement in my other shoes, is letting people know, no matter how much your shoes cost or how much quality or whatever, they can have a clip on the back and they can still be of high quality. You know what I mean? But I think this is Black people by nature. When we can't have something that we want, it gets us in a creative mode to be able to obtain it. Some people use the ski mask mace the way, some of us use the creative way. I had strict parents, so I didn't have many options to go the wrong way. So, and my cousins, who some of them did, not down the right path, they made sure I didn't go down the wrong path. So I appreciated that about them in my later years. But I always wanted to be the cool kid, but never got to be until I got much, much older in life. And then by that point, I didn't care about being cool anymore. I just wanted, to do stuff.
Yes, sir. Wow. Yes, sir. That kind of definitely sounds parallel to my journey as well. Just being broke, wanting better, and also wanting to create an impact as well. with my entrepreneurship abilities. Always been a hustler by nature as well. From school, when you said now laters, it reminded me of how we used to flip chips and candy back in school, walking around with duffel bags, and we used to bake cakes and flip them in school, doing all that good stuff. But no, most definitely. So ROCKDEEP, tell us more about ROCKDEEP and what made you start ROCKDEEP. Is there a background story behind that as well?
So for me, this business isn't just about footwear and apparel. It's about being able to save money that you buy from us with and invest it in yourselves. We as a people collectively need to understand what generational wealth is. We need to understand what financial freedom is and the ability to leave our legacy something. That first shoe that you asked me about before the show started, what was my first shoe? I called it the legacy because I knew it would either make me or break me. It would be something that said, you know what, maybe this ain't gonna be for you, or hey, we need to take this thing to where we are now, 140 plus sneaker styles. But for me, ROCKDEEP is about, it ain't just my company, it's your company, it's everybody who has my skin complexion's company, to let them know that little brown and black boys and girls can know that even if it ain't footwear they're into, that they can do bigger things that they're being told by teachers who aren't necessarily for them, who aren't, about their progression in life. Yes, we all do have those teachers who want better for us, but learning about what teachers are against us, and we never knew that. We now know that, all those teachers didn't have, a great insight or a potential for us to do well. They expected us not to do well, to do better for ourselves. But we need to let those kids know what our real history is, first of all. And secondly, that we can do anything. I always tell my kids they can't do anything they want. They can do everything they want. Because I was that person that did that.
Wow. Yes. So I do have a quick question here. I'm gonna show it on the screen. Somebody asked if you ship to Bermuda.
We ship internationally. We ship globally. One thing, and that actually leads me to this. We were a global company before we were like a domestic company, because people, I'm a very transparent person. People weren't effing with us when I first went out and started knocking on doors and asking places, hey, do you want to carry this? They would give me BS stories like, oh, well, you got nice stuff, but I would have to take this down to this down, not knowing that I had already been in the industry for some years. So I knew when it was giving me BS, it was BS. But that's just something they want to tell me because they didn't know me from anybody. Plus, I was black. Now, do I use that as an excuse? No, because it might not just be because I'm black. It might be because they didn't know me from nowhere. But again, that wasn't going to be what stopped me. I needed to make sure I found out what ways. There's so many ways around an obstacle. You can go over top, you can go around, you can go through it, but you have to pick you can pick, and you should pick the least path of resistance that's creative in your mind. So I said, well, look, I'm going to go and see who overseas wants my stuff, who would be receptive. And Europeans, basically, they're always the first to set trends overseas. In America, it's black people. Overseas, it's Europeans. And kind of, goes back and forth because Asian people love Western culture. Europeans love all kinds of culture, but it's what they pick first that they choose to go with before, and then we as black people, we love other cultures, but it depends on what we pick first, what everyone else sets the trend behind. So, culture vultures look to us to know what they're going to do. And so for me, I just wanted to be that brand that basically my people wore first. And for a while it was touch and go because we had a lot of white people buying our stuff. And the worst thing that I ever thought could have happened was a kid in a school see another white kid wearing them. I'm like, yo, that's hot. And then that white kid set the trend with my stuff. That would have been horrible. You know what I'm saying? But we are where we are now. And I'm not even gonna lie. Collectively as a people, I didn't get the support. Individually, I had black people from day one support me. But just now we're getting more black people to find out about ROCKDEEP. But 70% of white women is what got me to this point today.
Okay. So what was it that sparked that big like breakthrough that made everybody like say, oh, ROCKDEEP, and I need those?
It basically was just me chugging and like placing ads on pro-black things and doing some ads with Facebook or Instagram while everybody was while all the big companies were doing boycotting. Me as a black company, I can't afford to boycott somebody to get eyes on my product. And for me, I'm not the type, even though I just did a collaboration with somebody, I'm not the type to reach out to, I'm not the type to cut checks to some athlete and give them like $1,000 million and say, hey, come wear my stuff. First of all, we're a small business, so we don't have that kind of money. Second of all, that's not who I want it to be. I want my products to resonate with everyday people. I want everyday people to know that they can come and they don't have to see some superstar wearing their stuff to feel like they got to be like that superstar. I want them seeing everyday people wearing my stuff so that they know it's for everyday people.
That's dope.
That's dope.
We speak a lot about obstacles, and whenever I look on social media and I see a lot of people coming out with a new shoe, they always like end up molding into the type of shoe that they want. But like your first shoe is phenomenal compared to a lot of other people's first shoe. So I want to know about the difficulties that goes into just specifically designing the shoe.
That's a hell of, well, I've never been asking that. I mean, you'd have thought I've been asked that question, but see, the first shoe that I came out with is not the first shoe that I did. The first shoe that I did is all of these, and I did them in concert with one another. Like, and I can, you know, it's a wall of obstacles. A lot of people would say it's my wall of failures because they never went to retail, but it was basically to get me to my first shoe that came out, because I wanted the first shoe that I came out with to be a statement. I wanted it to be like, when it got in your hands, even though you've seen pictures of it, even though I showed you the entire process from A to Z, how I made it, when you got it in your hands, it was still like, damn, wow. You know, I wanted it to resonate and be like, I can't believe a brother did this. And for me, you know, when I see my shoes on other people's feet, when I see it, you know, whatever, that, you know, for sneakerheads, which I am one, the feeling never gets old of seeing your shoes on other people's feet or just making another shoe. And one thing that, you know, this shoe gave me the idea of doing is that I never fully show the entire being of a shoe, meaning I can show you pictures, I can show you concepts, but when you get it, you're gonna see stuff that you never saw in a picture. And for a sneakerhead, for anyone out there as a sneakerhead, you know that the anticipation is in waiting for the shoe. So when you get it, that shoe finally comes in the mail, or you go get it and you open up that box, and you're like, woo! And then 5 seconds pass, and you're like, huh. And then it's on to the next shoe. Because everything about that anticipation is over. But I wanted it so that when it came, you got it, you saw that there was so much more than just what you were expecting. And now you get to go wear it, and you get to wear it proudly, because I was about to say the N-word, but a ninja, you know, a brother, he designed it, he built it. And now it's not just my shoe, it's everybody's shoe. And now you have pride in wearing a shoe that not only I built, but that you can go say that I built. You know what I mean?
Definitely. That's dope, man. So with since we're on the topic of designing the shoe, are you the sole designer of all of your shoes?
No. I can't build a stick figure personally. And I'll tell people that straight up. But for me, my power is in my words and my ability to bring my words to life. So I will work with a designer, my in-house designer, or when I do collaborations with a designer, I work with him. But I'll basically go back and forth with my words, because I can see things in my mind, but I can't put it to paper. I can do concepts, I can do mood boards, I can do concepts, I can do decks and, you know, presentations, but I can't draw. So what I do is I put it all onto paper. I can do the prettiest presentation ever. I can do all the moods and bring together. And the person that I work with in-house, we've just gotten this synergy where it only takes me 1 or 2 iterations to come out with what it is that was in my head. They can bring it out. For other people, it might take 2 or 3, maybe 4 iterations, but it's not as much as if I went to like a big company where some people, they're only, you know, if you guys, two guys were designers, you're going to hear and understand 2 different ways because of your perception, your experiences. But if I took one and said, hey, here's everything I got, took it back and then gave it to the other person, I now have actually probably covered everything that I wanted in my mind and got it to paper. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because you both have 2 different ways of looking at life, things, experiences, and how you create. So if I can get all of that out from one person and I'm almost close, I can definitely get it from the second person and say, hey, here's the other stuff that I need. And see, some people will call that thinking outside the box. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I've built my own box and I think outside of that. Why? Because the first box, that shit's too crowded. Everybody's thinking outside that joint.
Absolutely, that is funny. I have thought about that before as well. It's like this box is crowded. Yes, sir. So going into designing a shoe, what is the cost and what is the process in producing a shoe and producing a
So
car?
it varies. There's no one answer to that because it depends on the materials that you use, the technology that you've infused into the shoe. If it's going to be a low, a high, it's going to be mesh or something like that. I mean, let me show you all real quick. I will go with my factories and I'll create my own swatch books and let them know, hey, we want this color, we want this style, and it's an entire process. And I explain to people that I mentor to that, when I tell people it's a process from A to Z, that doesn't mean A to B is a step, because there's 100 steps between A and B. Mm-hmm. And that might mean there's 1,000,000 steps between A and Z, but you can't be in a rush to get to Z until you didn't really, really accomplish A to B. And some people, when they get into this, they just think it's going to be easy. If it was easy, we all be doing it, but it ain't as hard as everyone thinks. That's the whole thing. So I always tell people, use your own money as much as you can. Don't take as many, don't give as much equity away. If you can, get some loans that you can pay back. And that means personal loans, not bank loans and all that kind of stuff, because you don't want to be owing people forever on something and then you paying them forever once you got to where you're going, because you're really truly never there. I'm not where I want to be.
Right.
So at that point, do I want to be spending $100,000 in loans and my company is not where it needs to be? No. So I always tell people, do as much as you can on your own. Never quit your main job until your side hustle becomes your main job. Use that main job to feed the side hustle.
Main job to be the side hustle. You guys hear that? That's listening. It's the steal away method right there. That's how you steal away. There. Got any other questions?
Yeah, I do actually. Okay, so I just drew a blank.
It's okay. I do that all the time in the middle of answering sometimes.
But what year did you drop your first shoe?
2013. I did it in the Kickstarter. So, I'm sorry, in 2015. We started in 2013 with development and just kind of trying to get all this together. But in 2015, we did a Kickstarter. We set a goal, and that was my way of actually getting out there because I didn't have the capital, so I needed capital infusion. But I needed to really build a story and have people understand they can have faith in me to be able to produce something of quality. So what I did, instead of just saying, hey, here's a shoe I got, y'all, I actually invited everybody in, created like a Facebook group and said, hey, here's what I'm going to do. And actually showed them the entire process. I would post pictures of samples and what I do with the factory and all those things all the way through. And there was delays. I let them know there was delays. And it's something that I still do today, is let people know if there's going to be a delay in shipping or something like that. I let people know. Why? Because transparency is everything. When you bring people along for the journey, they feel invested. And let's just say you didn't take in 3 to 4 months to do something. Well, if you're on that 3rd or 4 months, you ain't gonna jump out at that point. You want to see what your money is, where your money is going at that point. If you spend $150 on something, you want to know, I need to see this thing to the end. And these people want to see you succeed, because those are the people who truly have faith in you. And the people who are going to have more faith in you are the people that you don't know rather than the people that you do know. Now, that's not to say that the people that you do know won't, but you're going to always have more people who you don't know support you than you do people who will.
Most definitely.
Absolutely.
I was told a quote that those who are closest to the light are blinded by it. And that definitely goes hand in hand for me, because being an entrepreneur is hard, man, especially whenever you expect everybody to have faith in you. It's like, that's not how it goes always.
You're gonna lose friends when you're an entrepreneur, family that might not, it's just, the thing is, only you truly have the faith that you have in yourself, and you hope that everybody has faith, because a lot of people tell you what you want to hear. Oh yeah, man, that's great. Yeah, I'm gonna buy them joints when they come out, and you don't even see them again. But when you determine marketing ways to be able to get your stuff out to the masses, then you can rely on the people who don't know you, because they're going to be the ones who are curious about what you're doing. They're going to be on that journey with you, and then they're going to be the ones that are there at the end. I mean, I mean, obviously 99.9% of the people that support Rock Deep are people I don't know, but I actually try to make it a way of getting to know people. That's why I do IG Lives. And people think, oh man, when you get bigger than you are now, you ain't gonna be doing that no more. Well, I've done television and radio. I've done things like this. I've done podcasts. I've done things like this. I don't know who else to be, so I'm always going to be this person, because for me, it gives me an opportunity to reach out to those who are supporting me. First of all, I don't believe in calling people my fans. I believe in calling them my supporters. It's just like people don't work for me; they work with me. And I believe if you keep that mindset, you can get more people who are with you on that journey and want to be with you on that journey.
Yes, sir, definitely. Yeah, because that personal connection with the people that support you, the people that work with you, will go a long way. I definitely experienced that myself. Having those genuine bonds, genuine connections with people help them stick around way much longer than whenever you just kind of working as a boss. And, you know, when you just commanding and delegating in a way that feels like you're demanding more than you're asking or requesting them to do stuff. So, no, I definitely respect that wisdom there, sir, and I appreciate that. Here's another question as well. Someone's asked, do you do sizes for fluffy women?
Does that mean size inclusive? Because I don't know what fluffy is. Does that mean thick-boned, mild-boned?
I believe that's thick-boned.
No, I mean, we do sizes for everyone, but what we have is people who have wide feet or flat feet. We actually have a tab on our website that you can go under footwear, and it'll say 4 wide. And that was actually based off of a suggestion that a supporter sent us. Hey, can I find, because sometimes getting those questions in daily, it was too inundating for my customer service staff to answer. They could have just said, hey, here's some of the shoes. But I just said, hey, well, let me go down the list and show you all the shoes that flat-footed people and wide-foot people could do. We don't make like quadruple E and triple E shoes, but we do make shoes that can fit wide-foot people or people with wide feet.
Okay.
So growing up, did you always know that you wanted to have a brand like a?
Oh no! I always knew I wanted to be in business, not footwear business, because like I said before about telling my children they could be everything they want to be, not anything. I have worked in the government as a government contracts person. I've been homeless. I've worked at a commissary bagging groceries. I've done television and radio. I've run the gamut on things, but I never studied to do television and radio. I didn't go to school to do these things as far as footwear go. Those were just things that when people don't think you can do, you just go on. But footwear was always my passion, because as a child, that was something I always loved, was footwear, having shoes. So it wasn't any one particular thing, because for 20 something years, I ran my own consulting for marketing and government contracts and things of that nature. But that was just to make money, to support the kids. I mean, I enjoyed what I did. I didn't exactly love everything I do, but now I can wake up at 6 a.m. and go to bed at 2 a.m. and get 4 hours of sleep and still be irritated that I didn't get to work 24 hours a day. It doesn't feel like work.
Absolutely. I definitely know that feeling right there.
And that's truly when you love what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. It's like you want it. What did Eric Thomas say? When you want it more than you want to breathe. When you want it more.
Because I mean, I won't lie. When I first started this business, it was about me, like making sure that I could do this and I could achieve this. But then, when you get into business, just like, and I don't mean just Rock Deep, I mean any business, you realize when you have seeds, you got to provide for your legacy. It's about your kids, your wife, your family. But I then elevate and evolve into, I want to leave them something. I don't want to just do something for them. I want to leave them something. And whether this is what they choose to do or not, at least I know I've done what I could do to make sure they're comfortable in life, but also make sure that they got to work hard for what they get.
Yes, sir.
Because that's a fine line between having spoiled children and entitled children, or children to work for and know that they have to earn everything they get.
Oh, most definitely, man. Do you have a favorite shoe of your own? Like,
do I have a what?
Do you have a favorite shoe? Like, do you have one of your shoes that you've designed? Do you have a favorite one?
A bigger one?
A favorite one, like.
Oh, favorite one. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I mean, yes, they're all my, so, you know, this is gonna sound weird, kind of like when white people call their dogs children, which I don't agree with, but all my kids, all my shoes are like my kids, although I don't have ugly kids. Some of your shoes can be ugly, but you love them all just the same, you know what I'm saying? Because you created them all. So people always ask me what's my favorite. I'm like, I could try to pick, but I don't, you know, I actually have this thing with my kids where I tell them who's my favorite of the week. Why? Because it makes them be really, really good. Sometimes it wears off. But those, you know, there's some people that's mean. No, that's being straight up. Because, you know, sometimes you gotta look at you the favorite of the week. And when my daughter was born, even my daughter's like, oh, we know she's gonna be the favorite for a while. Hey, at least that'll make you work hard to make sure you're the best that week. But that's just, you know, and in our house, we're very competitive, but we don't let it get to a point of where anger, you know, I love my kids and that they're competitive, but I always let them make sure that we all gonna love each other in the end.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, most definitely. So I kind of want to, I guess, rewind a little bit, go back into, because you say you were in the shoe industry. So if you don't mind talking about your journey in the shoe or getting in the shoe industry and
no, go ahead.
I was saying kind of how you started taking that information and putting it into your own company.
So the way I got into it, first of all, was by happenstance, the same way I got into radio and television. A buddy of mine years and years ago, he asked me when I was about 27, I think, 27, 28. He said, hey, man, you want to go to this Jordan symposium down in Arlington, kind of close to where I live at? And I was like, sure. Well, it was me, him, and then a whole bunch of youngsters that were like 13, 14, 15 in this auditorium. And then there was all these Jordan guys up on a dais, you know, and people were asking them questions like, when's this color Jordan coming out and blah, blah, blah. And I'm in there asking business questions and marketing questions and thinking, what was the thinking behind this? And, you know, when you guys come out with these numbers, what is the profit? You know, I'm going all kinds of nobody's asking these questions. So I'm thinking it's like, whatever. Well, after the thing's over, like 3 of them come down, Mike DiTullio, Dwayne Edwards, and Jason Maiden, who I'm still folks with today. And they're like, hey, man, thank you. I was like, what? And they were like, we done been to 100 of these, and no one's asked questions like that. Because we were like, who is this? They were all like, who is this dude? Because they all thought maybe I was a plant. And then it was like, nah, this is just a genuinely interesting guy. So like months later, they were going to be back in town because they were going to work with Georgetown on some stuff. So they invited me out. And we talked about everything except sneakers that night. We talked about family, life, everything that's going on in the world, blah, blah, blah. This was years ago. So we said, you know, goodbyes, blah, blah, blah. And they both emailed me and said, hey, appreciate, you know, you coming out. And would you be interested in working for us? And I was like, hell yeah. Like, doing what? I don't know how to make, you know, draw shoes. So they were telling me, you know, oh, you can do product line management. You can do, there's a host of things. So I actually started at Jordan as a consultant working for them. And then years later, I moved to Beaverton, Oregon, and I worked on different lines. And, you know, after a while, it rained too much out there and I didn't want to have my children brought up where it rained every damn day. So we moved back home. And I basically, you know, to kind of skip forward and go back, years later, I decided that's what I wanted to do. But when I had gotten back from Nike, I had actually picked up my marketing and my clients and gotten into television and radio, again, by happenstance. But I took everything that I learned there over the years, even working as a consultant from afar and then moving there, and just implemented all the good stuff and removed all the bad stuff. Because there's so much red tape because you have to go through layers and layers. And some of the greatest things that have ever been created at Nike and Jordan have never been seen at retail because of red tape. So if you go through the halls, and if you're a sneakerhead, you will literally be like, God, you'll just be saying, God damn all day. Because you'd be like, God damn, God damn. Like my first day on campus, I tell the story all the time. I'm sitting, I wanted to get to a meeting early. So I'm literally 30 minutes early because everyone would get to meetings 15 minutes late. So it was at 9 o'clock. I'm there at 8:45. When my boy Esai walks in and he goes, hey, bro, you all right? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? He goes, well, you sweating. And I'm like, for real? Well, apparently, because I've seen all these shoes that had never been seen before. And I'm so excited that I'm just sweating from down, like just from sheer sneakerhead excitement. And I'm like, ain't this a bitch? But that's how excited that I always have been and always will be for footwear, because there are people basically who are in the footwear business that don't get excited. And I never want to be a part of this if I don't have that excitement that I had back then, because I still have it now.
Right. Man, that most definitely. Man, you couldn't say anything about the shoes coming out either. Man,
Nope.
oh, because I know how frustrating it is when I'm trying to get a shoe like on sneakers app, right? And you wait till 9 o'clock. As soon as 9 o'clock hits and you're trying to pay for your shoes, but then you gotta race against all the bots you gotta race. Because I see on your website as well, you got pre-orders. And so do you do the pre-orders because you want to kind of get a head count, for lack of better words, on how many shoes you need to make?
2 reasons. So I do it first for budget reasons, because I have so many shoes out there that I don't have the capital to always just come out and pay for the shoes up front. So what I do is I'll do a pre-order and say, hey, here's the process. And if you have the patience, it's going to take from this date till this date to get out there. But the second part is it really gives me the opportunity to do what I once did before, is show people the entire process of how a shoe is done. Because I do so many other shoes in the background, I can't really go online and show them everybody, here's what happened with this shoe. But with pre-orders, I can literally show you, hey, when we went to production, when we did samples, and just show you everything. When the shoes are literally on the press getting made, I want to show you all that, because it gives you a sense of connection, and it just pulls the curtains back on, because Nike and Adidas, they're not going to do that. You only see a shoe. The only time you see a shoe leak early is on Nike Talk, and you'll see it early, and boom, that's it. I mean, I was a part of Nike Talk back in '99. You know what I'm saying? Almost when it first started. Mm-hmm. But that's the only time. But you already saw the shoe as it was made. You didn't really see the behind the scenes before it was made, the inspiration behind it. And another thing is, I want to be able to show people why I named the shoe a certain thing and why I put the colors in it. Because everything has a meaning, and everything should be inspired by something. And when you go to these bigger companies, the marketing story is completely different than the guy who designed the shoe and what his story is for why he brought it to where it is. Right.
I mean, well, then can you break down this shoe here on the screen? Can you see it on the screen here?
Yeah, that's the black light Asiasis. But I actually changed the name. It used to be called the Asiger. So the Asiger, I named the Asiger initially for 3 guys. A guy named Assis, who I really respect his abilities. A guy named Devlin Carter from Psy Collective.
Oh yeah.
Because he actually makes shoes with a lot of neons and things of that nature. And then there's this guy named John Geiger, who's basically a culture vulture. He'll take shoes and ideas from other people, and then I'm not sure how he made his claim to fame, but he basically just takes stuff from other people and then resells it for $300 and $400. And my whole thing is I wanted to show people that you could make a really great quality shoe, and I wanted to give reverence to these 2 dudes without giving too much reverence to him. So I actually really went back and changed the name to the Asiasis and just named it after Assis and Saya Collective, because I didn't want to really include that guy's name on it, John Geiger. So the Asiasis was basically for the Black empowerment, and then the neon was really to speak towards like the colors that Devlin does and his stuff like that.
Yes. Shout out Devlin Carter, man. I definitely have been tapped in with his shoes as well. They're definitely pretty dope as well. Let me see. I was looking at some shoe here. It was like a boot, I think. Let me see here. I was like, I need these boots.
Were they black?
Molly Hondos.
Right there, yeah. That was tough.
Yeah, so the Molly Hondo boot was something. That shoe was first before I actually made this shoe, and you'll see this shoe is an actual Q boot.
Oh,
I designed. And I won't get into the full story behind it, but I designed this shoe for the Qs, but it never came to be because Fools was acting crazy, and I decided my brand was much more important than them a few of them acting crazy. But it's a quality shoe. I actually don't know if we're going to come out with it now because of orders, and that's another thing that I tell people. I'm very transparent. If we don't meet the pre-production order number, we won't come out with the shoe. And you'll have people who are very upset about it, but I tell people that's going to take growth. You have people like Devlin Carter, who he sells out of shoes like that. but he's got that follow, and he hasn't even been doing this as long as I have. But we do two different things, and I try to tell people, I respect what he does. I hope he respects what I do, but we do two different things. He makes a high quality luxury shoe. I make a high quality functional shoe for all kinds of different things. So he has what he, and I try to tell people, I'm never going to disrespect what he does. Hopefully he never does that to me, because there can be more than one of us doing footwear and apparel. And there needs to be more of us doing these types of things, because if there can be a Nike or Reebok, Adidas and whatever, there can be a Side Collective, there can be a ROCKDEEP, there can be other businesses. And I that's what I want to promote and help other people with.
I respect that 100%. I respect that. And so as far as getting into, because you know you touched on it a little bit, what type of shoe that you create. And as I was looking down your website before, I do see that you make a lot of athletic wear shoes. So are they molded to maybe like a specific foot, like maybe somebody without the best arch? Do they support arches? Or, you know,
so that's a good question. So I played football for the better part of almost all my life, up until I was about 37, 38. I played minor league, semi-pro as well. And I developed bad feet because back then we had, you know, they still have screw ins, but they have a lot more padding than they did back then. So I had plantar fasciitis, but I knew that when I created shoes, I wanted to make sure that anything I wore had maximum comfort. So while all the shoes aren't built the same, they all have great support. They all have great comfort, because I can't put anything on anyone that I wouldn't wear myself. Plus, I ain't gonna have my people out in these streets talking about me. So,
absolutely.
Sorry.
But all shoes are made for different purposes. I have hiking shoes. I have trail running shoes. I have running shoes. I have things for and how I one way that I got into outdoor was when no one was really taking a look at my athletic gear when I first came out. I had to kind of repurpose a lot of my stuff for outdoor. And so how that happened was I went on REI site, which is a big, you know, white-owned outdoor company for hiking and stuff like that. And I was looking at their shoes. I was like, people pay $300 and $400 for a pair of shoes. I can do this stuff easily. And so I went back to the drawing board, and I just said, you know, I researched that, and I asked people who do hiking and things of that nature. And I went back and I repurposed a lot of my athletic shoes for hiking, trail running, and things of that nature. And when I finally came out with it all, it was a hit.
That's dope. So since you say you make like shoes for different purposes, do you make football cleats too?
Those are something that I have working on, because football cleats, I did not want to do what everyone else was doing, because that is why I am doing what I'm doing, or it is the reason why I build comfortable shoes, is because of the way cleats are. But you can only make cleats so many different ways. It's like a limited amount of ways. You either do screw ends, or you do what's called a cleated plate. And I wanted to be able to say, all right, well, if I only have these two options, I have to do something with the comfort level of it. So that's what I'm working on now. And by next season, actually my samples will be coming out soon, because I tried. Trust me, I've tried, but it always came out being the same. But I think I've gotten it down where I'm going to be coming out with some of the most comfortable football cleats that people have ever tried on.
And how many different styles did you say you had?
140 plus. For the longest time, I was saying 130 plus, but that's just because I wasn't adding all the new shoes I was coming out with. And anytime I did interviews, I'm like, yeah, we got 130 plus. But one day I went and recounted, so it's over 140. So I say 140 plus now. And I believe it's up to 150, but I just stopped counting.
Absolutely, man. I applaud this journey that you've been on. Definitely very inspirational as well. Do you have another question?
I do. Since this is a journey, and since just like we spoke before and we were talking about, or you said how A to B isn't one step. Hey, there's a lot of steps between A and B. So I know that where you are right now, that's probably not where you want to be. So where will we see ROCKDEEP in the future? How do you expect to see ROCKDEEP grow?
So my expectations are to always be better than I was the day before, as a business, as a person, father, husband, everything. But specifically for the business, I want to be able to give us, and by us I mean specifically Black people, the opportunity to have ownership in this. So I'm going to franchise. We've been working on that for a couple of years now, because for me, Adidas, Reebok, they're not going to give you ownership in footwear and apparel. So you're never going to have the opportunity to own a part of that. They'll let you own something that'll kill us, like McDonald's or something like that, but not something that could actually give us generational wealth that we can pass on down. So for me, that's something that was very, very important to me to be able to say, you know what, in Mississippi, and also before and in parallel with that is I'm going to be opening up apparel factories in underserved areas all across America. Why? Because if I can open up apparel, it's just no way to do footwear and make it affordable if you had to pay the wages of American workers. But you can do apparel, because the way I break it down is not the way economists break it down, but I'm like, if each person making $15 to $17 an hour sells a shirt, they didn't pay for about one shirt per hour. So they're paying for themselves. You know what I'm saying? But I'm now going to be able to give all these people in the town that didn't have the opportunity to work a job. So what are they going to instantly become? Brand loyal to ROCKDEEP. And it's not just to have them become brand loyal, but it's to let them know that there's someone out there that does care about them, because Nike ain't doing that, and they can. Adidas ain't doing that, and they can. And they could have even stolen my idea, because they've stolen my ideas before. But the thing is, they don't choose to do those types of things because they want to keep their stuff as low as possible by going overseas to get everything done. Whereas I want to be able to create more for our people. And so if I can create stuff in Detroit, Mississippi, DC, and all underserved areas, at that point, we can now compete with other people on financial levels. Right. Not just any, we don't have to aspire to just be scientists and, the highest part of the echelon. We can be somewhere in between and still gain financial literacy and freedom and independence from everybody else.
Yes, sir.
Most definitely.
Man, that is wonderful. Yes, sir. Because that's definitely one of those, because not everybody wants to be a rocket scientist. Not everybody is interested in being it's not, what's the word? I guess you could say marketable. It doesn't, everybody wants to be a football player or a basketball player because they look good, anybody who,
I want to be able to show people that you don't have to be a rapper, entertainer, or a tech person, because a lot of people in tech can go and get, loans or seed money and stuff like that, but not everybody's getting into tech. I mean, the thing is, we are siloing and separating our black and brown youth to saying, if you want to be great, you got to do this. No, there's so many other things you can do.
Yeah.
So many to be great. And, some people, money ain't everything to everybody. It helps. But the thing is, as long as we can create paths to be able to sustain each other into our own Black Wall Streets, and it ain't got to be an entire Black Wall Street. It just be like, look, let's keep this money in the community. Let's keep each other supported. And then we can all grow together, and we ain't got to be millionaires. Everybody ain't got to be a millionaire.
Right.
Absolutely.
Life will be.
You know what I mean? It will, like you said, it helps, but not everybody needs that. And not everybody is striving to be that, because, to me, passive impact weighs way more than passive income. As long as you can impact people on a consistent basis, to me, that makes me feel better. I can make $50,000 a year, but if I know that I'm impacting 100,000 people a year, that right there is a bigger accomplishment to me than just making a whole lot of money.
I'm actually glad you said that, because one of the things that you get a sense of accomplishment when you do certain things in business, but nothing is more of an accomplishment for me. Like, I used to be happy that I could provide for me, my children, my wife, my family, but nothing other than that beats being able to help other people be able to provide for their families and be able to help them create their own generational wealth. Little girl. Y'all hear that? All right, come in. I tell you. Say hello. Say hey. She came in here with her Moorish, her big curly bush. Say hello to everybody.
Hi.
So yeah, this is the seventh and last, and I tell you it's the last because I've already had the surgery. So.
Seventh and last.
Man, your middle daughter, she's really, really, really a middle child. She's in between a lot of different children, man. She's
oh yeah.
Because I'm a middle child.
And she's probably one of my most independent too. This one's independent too. But my middle child, she is true middle child syndrome, but she doesn't really care that she's middle child. She's just like, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do anyway.
We're the best middle child.
Whatever.
I do want to. I have one more question. I know that you mentor, so I don't want to ask for like the biggest gem that you give them, because I know that it's an honor to be mentored by you. But could you drop one gem for the young entrepreneurs who are sitting at home listening and aspiring to be entrepreneurs, essentially?
I don't know if there's any one particular thing, because I'm always trying to make sure that they don't hit the same obstacles I did, even though they're going to hit obstacles. But my whole thing is to tell everybody, there's many people who always complain about working a 9-to-5, that always claim they want to do their own thing. If you can't work a 9-to-5, and trust me, I understand there's a difference between working for yourself and working for someone else. But if you can't handle working a 9-to-5, you're definitely not going to be able to handle working for yourself, because when you get off your main job, you got to go home and then put in more hours. Mm-hmm. Doing your own thing, when you're working part-time for your own thing, let's just say you work from 9 to 5, then you go home and work from 6 to 2. If you got kids, you got to deal with them and then work until maybe 2 in the morning, get your nap in before you go back to work. But let's just say you didn't financially independent yourself and it's now just your thing. You're working around the clock and you got to find naps at that point, because the creative part for anything that you do is the easy part. The administrative part is what I hate. I mean, after I finish creating a shoe, I'm cool. But now I got to go do what's called a tech package. And I got to explain to the factory, I want this material. I want this many millimeters apart. And all. That's the tedious stuff. But also the bills and all that stuff I don't even want to deal with. Good thing I have my wife to help. But there's so much more to business than the part that you love doing. You know what I mean? And if you good now, you bored? Sorry. Love you. But there's so much there's so much more to your business that you won't love doing, that if you can't handle that, then you ain't gonna make it.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Not for the weak.
I know, because I told myself, I said, I'd rather create $1 million payroll before I hit $1 million, just because not only, like we talked about before, creating impact and helping people support their families, but also because I want to be able to pay a lot of people to do the stuff that I don't want to do. So,
but just know that if you got $1 million payroll, you'll have done that much yourself before giving it to them to do.
Absolutely.
You are going to be the one that has to teach everyone in there. That's why I always tell people, y'all all need to learn each other's job, because you cannot have one dependency in a job ever. Everyone needs to cross-pollinate on what they know about their job.
That's right, man. Yes. We definitely ran across those hiccups before. And it wasn't pretty, but we got over it. And then we just, like you said, we just learned each other's position. So that right there, that's a gem in life. Just, with relationships, etc., like learning each other's position, because I guess what they call it, covering down. You can cover down whenever somebody is, falling off on the other. So
plus, when you want to, one of the things that we run into now, but we have handled, you want to take a vacation. You want to enjoy what you created.
Right. And
whether it be a day or two or a week, you want to be able to take your vacation, not have to worrying about what's going on back at the crib, the job. And that's hard. It's hard.
No, it's definitely hard, because I can only imagine, especially with shoes, because everybody is, like, shoes are just on another level of appreciation and on another level of like I have seen people lick the bottom of their shoes. I don't know if they just licking the bottom of their shoes. Like, that's how much they love and care about shoes. So I already know.
Not knowing where them shoes have been and what the travels they've been through. I know that's been a thing for a while. You'll never see me doing that to my own damn shoes.
Never done that to some shoes. But I can just imagine what runs through your head whenever trying to even when you're just trying to relax and take a day off. I can only imagine what runs through your head, because I know you want everything to be.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. If I leave, I have to worry about, is everyone taking care of the shipping? Everyone taking care of the emails? Because I pride myself on you know, whether it be social media or emails, if someone takes the time out to reach out to us, I feel as though we should take the time out to reach back out to them, whether it be for something silly, because to them it may not be that silly, or if it be for something extravagant or very, very serious. We need to take the time out to reach out to them because you don't know how it's going to impact their lives. Hey man, this dude, damn, because one thing that you realize quickly is you are an inspiration to people you never intended to be. And it's a responsibility that you have to kind of take and just kind of run with it. Like I only want to really be an inspiration to my family and my kids, but I know that I'm an inspiration to others. There's other kids looking at me, but those are responsibilities you didn't ask for, but the responsibilities you have to be able to say, hey, because, what if you didn't reach back out to that person and they were going through some things and just talking to you could have been that thing that got them over the hump or put them in a better place. Having that guilt on your mind is something much greater than, having to take that couple minutes out just to respond to them.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yes, sir. Definitely respect. If you have any last questions.
No, I think I'm all questioned out. You were very detailed with your responses.
I appreciate y'all.
Most definitely. We appreciate you. It was an honor to have you on the show.
I'm completely honored to see someone who I could look up to and who I can literally relate to doing something that, because I'm an actress, so I'm not trying to create shoes, but you still inspired my thing that I want to do with my life. So I want to personally thank you.
Well, I appreciate that because I tell people I'm just a regular ninja doing irregular things because I'm just like you. I'm no better. I'm no less. I'm just doing what I do, and I want people to look at that as like I can do that too, but work hard at doing it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And don't let anybody tell you can't do what you want to do.
That's the one right there, because
they will tell you that in a heartbeat. That's not gonna make you any money. That's not.
Hey, the people closest to you be the ones saying it too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it hurts too, but you got to get over that hump. And whenever you get over that hump, you really start seeing the fruits of that. Matter of fact, that is my last question. When did you start seeing the fruits of your labor really just start to blossom?
I'll call you when it happens.
Yes,
because the thing is that when you say the fruits of your labor, that to me anyway, and it may not be for anybody else, but to me, that almost makes it you feel like you've gotten to where you want to get to, and I just don't know when I'll get to that point. Because to me, I have a whole lot more creating to do. I have so much here that I have to get out and up on a wall or out on a retail wall. I have to be able to do so much more because there's so many more of you who need to talk to people like me. I want to be able to people that I mentor. You do what I did for you for others. And then once I think the fruits of my labor will be seeing more businesses like mine, and it won't be just with my business.
Right. Man, respect. And also I wanted to say, did you say?
No.
Oh, so I also wanted to say, afterwards we keep in touch. I have a shirt that I'm gonna send off to you. I don't have it on me now. It's not off the press yet, but once it is off the press, I'll be reaching back out to you. It's a 93 Supreme black on tour shirt. It's pretty dope. I'll send you a picture of it. How it looks. Once they get printed, I'll definitely I'm gonna ask for your size and send it out your way. So I just want to say that.
It depends on the season. Come this winter, I'll be an XL, but right now I'm a svelte large. You know what I'm saying? I change through the seasons.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The good old Thanksgiving meals and Christmas meals. Yes, sir. All right, but it was, like I said before, it was an honor speaking to you, and I'm really appreciative of you taking the time out of your day to be able to come on our show and drop these heavy gems on us. I learned a lot today, and I hope the crowd learned a lot as well.
Well, I appreciate you all, and thank you. Yes. Okay, I'm almost done. I appreciate you all, and the most you can do for me is to keep doing what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, be who you are, and don't let nobody else tell you can't do what you're gonna do. If you're gonna be an actress, call me. Hey, Rock, I'm in Hollywood right now. I'm in New York right now. You know what I'm saying? Or with your line, just say, hey. And for me, it only takes the email to say, hey, Rock, I got a couple questions about this, because my line is always open. My staff kind of screens things, but we've already talked, so it's no biggie. But just drop a line. If you got some questions, hit me up.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate that. Yes, sir. So other than that, no more questions. No
I
more.
appreciate y'all.
I appreciate you, sir, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your night and rest
sir.
of your week as well. And you'd be great.
You say bye-bye to everybody, blow them a kiss. I'll see y'all. Y'all have a good one now.
You too. Thank you.
All right.